Have you ever wondered if the rituals you perform, the hardships you endure, are actually bringing you closer to the divine? Or are you, as the great Saint Kabir warned, just putting on a show for the world while your heart remains a barren desert? Welcome, seekers! Today, we journey into the deepest illusions of our material world, the false joys that are nothing but a fleeting snack for time. Our glass with flowing sand, what does it truly mean to surrender your consciousness? We will travel back to witness the brilliant scholar Rumi, a man who possessed all the knowledge of the universe yet felt entirely empty, until a mysterious dervish taught him a spinning dance that unlocked the sheer ecstasy of pure, unbridled love. We will uncover the secret message of the caged golden parrot, a powerful, breathtaking reminder that to be truly free, to soar into the ultimate divine sky, the ego must first face its own death. And we will brave the freezing snows with sage Shukracharya and his disciple Kachha, exploring the cosmic battle between demigods and demons, the sacred life-restoring Sanjeevani mantra, and the shocking sacrifice required to transcend the very duality of our existence. Are you ready to awaken your inner witness and hear the eternal melody of your soul? Let us begin.
There is a couplet by Saint Kabir, Kabir, man diya nahi, tan kar dala jer. Antaryami lakh gaya, baat kaha ka fir. This can be understood as, O seeker of truth, you did not truly surrender your heart to God. Your devotion and your love toward God were merely physical rituals, devoid of actual love. The Lord, who reads every heart, has seen your insincerity. You are only deceiving yourself. Your words and postures cannot hide what your soul truly reveals. The second couplet is, Jhoote sukh ko sukh kahe, manat hai manmod. Jagat chabena kal ka, kuch muthi kuch God. This means that the joys of this world are transient, they are deceptive and impermanent. True happiness lies beyond time, yet ignorant people continue to dance in worldly delights. The human mind forgets that this entire world is simply a snack for time. Some of it is already in its fist, and the rest is in its lap, waiting to be consumed. Returning to the first couplet, Kabir, man diya nahi. Saint Kabir explains that if a devotee has not surrendered their mind and consciousness to the Lord, and has not truly loved Him, how can they ever hope to find Him? Such a person has only engaged in empty rituals. The phrase, tan kar dala jer, implies that they have simply subjected their physical body to hardship just to put on a show of devotion. The Lord knows everything. When you haven't even offered your heart to the divine, how can you expect to attain Him? That is why it is said, Antaryami lakh gaya. The all-knowing Supreme Lord sees right through you. Because your very existence is within Him, He witnesses every single thought, intention, and expression you have. Finally, baat kaha ka fir means that without a pure heart, it is all just a play of empty words. No matter how sweetly you speak or how much you show off your outer devotion, you can never truly attain the Lord without inner surrender. So, What Saint Kabir is truly expressing in this couplet is that unless you remember the Lord from the depths of your mind and consciousness, you are merely entangling yourself in physical rituals. If you try to please Him through outward acts alone, the world may be impressed, but the Lord knows that there is no genuine love in your heart. You are performing these rituals solely for the world to see. Even if you continue doing this for your entire life, you will never attain true communion with the Divine. The Lord resides in your every cell, in every single particle of existence. You may be able to deceive yourself, but you can never, in any way, deceive God. The Lord is love, the Lord is pure devotion. It is only through true love and pure feeling that one can realize the Divine. You may hypocritically give to charity, go on pilgrimages, spend your whole life performing rituals, and memorize holy verses, but it is all in vain until love for the Lord awakens in your heart. You must experience that inner witness who resides within you and watches over everything. That divine presence came with you the moment you were born, and it will stay with you for as long as you live. The moment it departs, you cannot remain in this world for even a single second. The Lord hungers only for love. Until you can genuinely love the Divine, His presence will never truly manifest in your life. Now, the question arises, how does one love the Lord? How can you love someone you do not even know? First, it is essential to know Him. Then, it is necessary to understand that He is the doer of everything. Only after realizing this can you truly love Him. When you love Him, only then will you experience His presence. You can understand this profound truth very well through the life of Rumi. Rumi was born into a very prosperous family in Afghanistan. His father was a religious preacher who understood faith with great depth, and he wanted to guide Rumi along this very same path. However, the circumstances in Afghanistan some 100 to 150 years ago became such that they were forced to leave their homeland. Traveling on camels and horses with his family, they eventually came to settle in the Arab region. This is where Rumi received his early education. He studied in madrasas, gaining knowledge of Persian and studying Urdu. He was so brilliant that by the young age of 10, he had already learned a great deal and acquired a strong grasp of several languages. He began to understand religion with great depth. As he grew a little older, he started explaining the profound aspects of faith to his peers. By the time he was 15 or 20 years old, he had already studied all the scriptures available there at the time. When he shared this knowledge with the public, even highly educated and learned individuals would listen to his every word with deep attention. They were greatly amazed, wondering how this young man possessed such profound wisdom. Rumi had acquired a very deep understanding of religion and had come to know a great deal about the Lord. However, there was no love for the Divine in his heart. It was completely devoid of love. He was not truly happy with this dry, intellectual knowledge. Impressed by his wisdom, many people became his disciples. He had a large number of followers at his place of teaching, and disciples would also visit his home to acquire knowledge. Yet, despite all this, he felt a profound emptiness and dryness within himself. There was no true joy in his heart. He knew about the Lord, but he did not possess love for the Lord. And when there is no love, the heart is nothing but a barren desert. Once, when he was around 20 or 22 years old, he left his place of work and was heading home. Along the way, he saw a man dressed in a white robe. In those days, those who wore such white robes were called dervishes. As soon as Rumi saw this dervish, he stopped a short distance away. He stopped so completely that he found himself unable to take another step forward, as though he had been pulled by a magnet. He stood there for a long while, simply gazing at the dervish. The dervish's eyes were also firmly fixed on him. After looking at each other for quite some time, Rumi walked over to the dervish with great effort. He bowed to him respectfully, and without saying much else, simply asked, "Please, come with me to my home." Holding his hand, Rumi took the dervish to his home, brought him into his room, and closed the door. There, he laid out all the doubts he had in his mind regarding the Lord. He asked the dervish a single question: "What is love?" The dervish replied, "To understand love is very difficult. It is an inner experience. While studying religious scriptures is necessary for love, something you have already accomplished, your heart still remains dry and barren." He further explained, in the English language, the word is love. The first letter, L, stands for learning. The dervish continued, "You have already mastered this learning. Now, you must become aware of the presence within you that has learned all this. Observe it." Meaning, you must stay with the inner witness, the one who has absorbed all of this knowledge. When you observe this witness and try to remain grounded in its presence, you will experience a profound inner joy. And when that bliss arises, you will begin to blossom alongside it, just as a flower blooms and dances. You will learn to abide with the witness, and eventually, you will dance with the witness. The dervish taught him the whirling dance of the dervishes. This dance is performed by spinning continuously in circles, with one hand raised upward toward the sky to receive divine grace, and the other pointing downward toward the earth. It is such a beautiful and enchanting dance that the one performing it never grows tired. As soon as Rumi began this dance, he simply kept dancing, spinning endlessly. And from his lips flowed verses of pure love, poetry devoted entirely to the love of the divine. He danced for hours, and the poetry pouring from him was so deeply captivating that his disciples, who were waiting outside, began to write it all down. Initially, He danced for just a few hours, but the following day, he danced throughout the entire day. All the while, his disciples continued to transcribe his verses. This poetry beautifully revealed the profound essence of how to reach the Lord through the path of pure love. Rumi completely stopped going to his place of teaching, remaining utterly absorbed in this divine dance. He spent many days in this state alongside the dervish. Eventually, however, the dervish realized that his presence was causing great distress among Rumi's disciples. They were deeply unhappy because Rumi was no longer imparting intellectual, bookish knowledge from the scriptures to them. Seeing their discomfort, the dervish quietly left and went away. Separated from his guide, Rumi was left deeply restless and distraught. So, after a few days of searching, Rumi found the dervish in Mecca and Medina, brought him back, and welcomed him into his home once again. Through the dervish dance, the fountain of love within Rumi flowed so boundlessly that his disciples would grow exhausted from writing down his verses, yet Rumi never tired. Eventually, the dervish left him once more, but this time he told Rumi, "Do not come looking for me. Establish yourself entirely in the love of the Lord." And that is exactly what Rumi did. He wrote so extensively about divine love that it is nearly impossible to describe. His outpourings became timeless songs and beautiful tales of supreme devotion to the divine. There is a very famous parable told by Rumi. A wealthy merchant once kept a parrot. The bird lived in a magnificent golden cage adorned with sparkling diamonds and pearls, and it was always given the finest food. One day, the wealthy man said to the parrot, "I am traveling back to the forest where I originally found you. If you have any message you would like me to deliver to your people, let me know." The parrot replied to its master, "Please tell my relatives that I am living in a beautiful golden cage studded with diamonds and pearls. Tell them I receive the absolute best food, and a gentle, cool breeze always flows into my cage." When the parrot's master traveled to the other city, he gave the parrot's family the exact message his bird had shared, that he lived in a golden cage adorned with diamonds and pearls, enjoyed a cool breeze, and received the finest food. Upon hearing this, his fellow parrots instantly dropped from the trees, as if they had died. Shocked and distressed by this sight, the wealthy man returned home. When he arrived, he recounted the entire incident to his parrot, saying, "When I told your flock about you, they all fell lifeless to the ground." The moment the caged parrot heard this, he too collapsed inside his cage. He fell in such a way that he did not move again. The master assumed the bird had died. He took him out of the cage and laid him on the ground, where the parrot remained perfectly still, as if truly lifeless. The master felt deep sorrow. However, in the evening, when they made arrangements to take him away to bury him, the parrot suddenly took flight and soared away. The profound spiritual meaning of this story is that the parrot's companions had sent him a silent, hidden message: if you wish to be truly free, you must first die. You must let go of your ego and unite your soul with the universal soul. When you become one with it, you will spiritually be with us. Worldly attachments, you must undergo the death of the ego. When you surrender completely, your soul transcends its physical limitations, even while you remain in your body. The moment you are taken out of your confinement, the moment you shed your worldly illusions, your soul awakens to true life, and you soar into absolute freedom to unite with the divine. The essence of this story is that in true love, your soul merges with the soul of the Lord, and yet continues to experience life within your physical body. This is the true union with the divine, and this is how the Lord moves through you. If a person continues to commune with the Lord in this way throughout their lifetime, they attain liberation with effortless grace at the end. There is another very famous teaching by Rumi. In his mystical songs of divine love, he expressed a beautiful truth. There are 7 chakras, that is energy centers along a person's spinal cord. These correspond directly to the 7 musical notes: sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni. While it is said that these chakras reside within your spine, their true existence spans the vastness of the universe. They are subtly connected to cosmic energies, and they continuously open and close. When the divine energy awakens and rises from the Muladhara chakra, reaching the Swadhisthana chakra, it produces a deep musical resonance. As the energy ascends further, it creates even more profound divine sounds. When it reaches the Anahata chakra, it emanates the pure melody of love. And when it rises to the throat, it manifests as sweet, compassionate words. In this way, these energy centers continuously open and close like the holes of a divine flute, allowing the sweet, melodious breath of the Lord to flow through you as a beautiful, eternal song. Your 7 chakras are like a flute. As divine energy flows through, they open and close. Just as a flute produces music, these energy centers resonate with beautiful sound. Finally, when this ascending energy reaches the Agya or third eye chakra, it harmonizes and controls all of these inner sounds. Ultimately, upon reaching the Sahasrara chakra, the energy merges completely with the vast universe. At this elevated stage, everything moves solely by the power of pure consciousness. This conscious energy descends to the Muladhara chakra and rises back up. This constant flow is the very bond of divine love. These are the celestial melodies. As the chakras in our body open and close, these incredibly sweet, melodious sounds naturally emerge. The kind of melody that plays within a person depends entirely on their level of spiritual evolution. If their awareness has evolved up to the heart center, feelings of deep devotion and reverence pour forth. If their awareness has reached the Sahasrara, no sound other than the name and praise of the Supreme Lord can ever leave their lips. This is a deeply touching and beautiful teaching of Rumi, and Sant Kabir has expressed the exact same profound truth. As he said, Kabir, man diya nahi. Until you completely surrender your mind and heart to the Supreme Lord, His divine melody will not awaken within you. True love for the divine cannot be experienced or reflected through mere physical rituals or outward show. The all-knowing Lord Himself plays these inner melodies within you. Antaryami lakh gaya, baat kaha ka fir. These profound truths cannot be fully captured or explained in mere words. The inner witness gently and organically reveals the spiritual state you have reached, and He continuously guides your future spiritual evolution accordingly. The second couplet is, Jhoothe sukh ko sukh kahe, manat hai manmod. Jagat chabena kal ka, kachu muthi kuch God. Nothing in this world is permanent, everything changes with time. A person often mistakes false, temporary pleasures for true happiness, and in their mind, they perceive this fleeting joy as the ultimate delight. However, humanity is unaware that all of this is simply the play of time. This false happiness will vanish in a mere instant. Until a person reaches the state of the timeless, Akal, they cannot know true joy. It is only when they attain this timeless, eternal state that they will experience genuine happiness. You can understand the profound meaning of this verse deeply through the story of Lord Indra and sage Shukracharya. Indra was the king of the demigods, and Shukracharya was the guru of the demons. During their battles, if any demigod lost their life, Indra would bring them back to life using the Sanjeevani shakti, the life-restoring power. However, Shukracharya did not possess this Sanjeevani shakti. He realized that at this rate, the entire population of demons would eventually be wiped out. To acquire this life-restoring power, he began a profound and intense penance devoted to Lord Shiva. His penance was so severe that he meditated for many years in the freezing snow, standing entirely upside down, with his head resting on the ice and his legs pointing toward the sky. Seeing this, Indra became deeply anxious. He realized that if Shukracharya also acquired the Sanjeevani shakti, the demons would ultimately conquer the demigods. To prevent this, Indra sent his beautiful daughter, Indrayani, to disrupt Shukracharya's meditation. However, when Indrayani approached Shukracharya and witnessed his agonizing, incredibly severe penance, she could not bring herself to distract him. Instead, she dedicated herself entirely to his service. Because the freezing cold and snow were so harsh, she would light a fire for him and tend to his every need. She was so profoundly moved by his immense austerity that she completely abandoned her father's command. Eventually, through his intense meditation and her devoted service, Shukracharya attained the Sanjeevani shakti. He received the blessings of Lord Shiva, and thus, the demons to gain the power to restore life. Shukracharya blessed Indrayani, and she returned to Indra. Now, the demons were overjoyed. Meanwhile, a thought arose in the mind of Brihaspati, the guru of the demigods. I must send my son to Shukracharya so that he can uncover the secret of the Sanjeevani shakti, and then we will be able to use it as well. Brihaspati's son, Kachha, went to Shukracharya and expressed his deep desire to become his disciple. Observing Kachha's radiant and divine aura, Shukracharya accepted him as his student. Kachha served Shukracharya devotedly for many years, but he still did not receive the knowledge of that sacred life-restoring mantra. Meanwhile, Shukracharya's daughter, Devyani, was deeply captivated upon seeing this radiant young man and completely fell in love with him. When the demons discovered that Devyani had fallen in love with Kachha, they murdered him. Devyani was so profoundly immersed in her love that she pleaded with Shukracharya, expressing the depths of her devotion, and persuaded him to bring Kachha back to life. This caused great distress among the demons. Unforgiving, they killed him a second time and threw his body into the ocean. Once again, Shukracharya restored him to life. The third time, the demons murdered Kachha, burned his body, and scattered his ashes into the sea. By now, Devyani's love for Kachha had grown so intense that she prayed to her revered father, swearing upon her love, "You must bring this young man back to life, no matter what it takes." This was an incredibly difficult task for Shukracharya because Kachha's ashes had been completely lost to the vast ocean. However, such was the immense power of the Sanjeevani Shakti and the strength of his many years of intense penance. He summoned every single particle of those ashes from the depths of the sea and brought Kachha back to life once more. This required an extraordinary amount of spiritual effort on his part. Shukracharya. As the guru of the demons, drinking wine was a part of his way of life, and he unknowingly drank the poisoned cup. When Devyani discovered this, the grief became utterly unbearable for her. She pleaded with her father, saying, "Either you bring him back to life, or I will take my own life." No father can ever bear to see his daughter die before his very eyes. This created a deeply profound dilemma for Shukracharya. Because Kachha had been consumed in the form of ashes, he had now entered Shukracharya's physical body, permeating his every single cell and particle. Yet, to save his beloved daughter's life, the great sage performed an extraordinary act. Gathering the essence of Kachha's ashes within his own being, he regenerated Kachha, giving him life as a child within his own body. He then said to Kachha, "I will bring you back to life and impart the Sanjeevani mantra to you. However, when you are revived and emerge from my body, I will no longer be alive. At that moment, you must use the Sanjeevani mantra I have taught you to bring me back to life." This was a profoundly magnificent and extraordinary act. Shukracharya placed his absolute trust in Kachha. The great sage brought Kachha out from within his own body, and in doing so, he embraced death. Kachha, who had now learned the sacred Sanjeevani mantra, immediately used its power to restore Shukracharya back to life. Now, Shukracharya was alive once again, and both Kachha and Devyani were there alongside him. At this point, Kachha said to Devyani, "Because I have emerged from your revered father, I am now your brother." Devyani completely refused to accept this. She replied, "You were not born from my mother's womb. My father has simply restored your life." And so, Kachha, who embodied a divine essence, and Devyani, the daughter of the demons, became lovers. The true essence of this entire story is simply that through love, anything can be attained. False happiness yields nothing, it only creates illusions and misleads you. If love is genuine, it holds the power to awaken a person even from the grip of death. The second profound message of this story is that divine energies and demonic energies, just like Kachha and Devyani, always exist together. Within our own minds as well, the divine power of the Lord resides alongside darker forces. Both divine powers and negative, worldly powers dwell within us. In the exact same way, both of these forces exist simultaneously throughout the cosmos. This entire world is a realm of duality. Within us, there are divine forces, and there are also demonic forces. It is the interplay of both that keeps this world moving. It is through their combination that the universe functions. And when these two opposing forces finally merge into one, completely transcending their dual nature, the state of Guntita, they become the embodiment of the absolute, complete universe. We cannot isolate our spiritual strengths from our inner flaws and impurities. They both coexist within us, and this very coexistence is their enduring bond of love. However, the true purpose of coexisting with both of these forces is that we must learn to rise above them. To live above this duality is to live in the timeless state, to live completely beyond the limitations of time. It is only by dwelling in this timelessness that we can attain the Supreme Lord, otherwise, we will remain forever caught in the endless cycle of divine and demonic forces. Only when we transcend time can we truly become one with the divine. So, the ultimate conclusion of this teaching is this: there is duality in this world, and our lives are also bound by this duality. Until we reach the timeless state, this world, as the verse reminds us, this world is merely a snack for time. Jagat Chabena Kalka will continue to consume us. It is only by transcending these dualities that we can unite with the Lord. This is the absolute reality of life. Try to understand this, delve deeply into its meaning, and contemplate it in your heart. As you do, this profound truth will become even more clear and vibrant to you. Thank you.